Hello, and thank you for joining me in your chair yoga practice today. I'm Nina G, and I'm so glad that you're here. I'm filming this in the dog days of summer. It's August right now, and it's quite warm. So today's practice is a cooling one. Ways for us to stretch and move, but not overheat the body. If you have a yoga block, let's bring that today because we're going to use it a little bit differently than we normally do. If you don't have a yoga block, no worries. There's plenty of other ways we can achieve the same goals. So grab your block, grab your chair, and we'll get started. We're starting seated today, and I've connected my feet to the earth with these blocks. Now, if your feet connect to the earth very firmly without blocks, no worries. I'm sitting all the way back in my chair, and I've got my palms turned up in my lap, shoulders come down from the ears. And let's soften or close the eyes. And for today's practice, since we are talking about a cooling practice, let's try and keep our gaze at the level of the horizon or lower. Or again, we can close the eyes and just arrive here at our practice. So take a moment to check in with the physical body. Notice how it feels today. Notice any areas that might need our special attention and care. And notice if you're hot or cold. That's always an interesting one to figure out. Parts of you can be warm, and then the fingers or toes might be cold. Turn your attention to your breath, smoothing it out and slowing it down. And now let's bring those palms together in front of heart center and take a moment to set an intention for this practice. And it might be this idea of keep cool, or it might be anything else that's important to you. Whatever it is, bring it to the front of your mind, the front of your heart. And then we'll release those hands back down to the lap. Let's take a circle or two with the shoulders. Slow, easy movements. And then we're going to slide forward to the edge of our chair. When we do that, we're going to move those blocks out of the way, but keep them close by because we're going to need them. Now, feet are firmly on the floor here. I'm sitting forward. I'm about 6-8 inches from the back of my chair. And I feel both sitting bones really firmly and safely, securely on the chair. Sit up tall, push into the feet, push into the sitting bones. And let's do that circle again with the shoulders, just a real slow movement. Forward, up, and back, and down. And then allow the palms to rest in the lap. And we're going to do a few cat and cow movements. But again, let's keep those eyes at the level of the horizon or lower. Or if it feels okay for you, you can close the eyes. So when we inhale, we'll fill up, but my eyes are looking low. And then as we exhale, I bring that belly button back to support the spine, round the back, separate the shoulders. Moving that way again, inhale, slow movements. And exhale, round and release. So just that real gentle front back movement of the spine, bringing motion into the spine. And after your next exhale, whenever that may be, we'll sit up tall. Let those shoulders come down. Check in with how the spine feels. We're going to move to a real gentle twist now, reaching those arms forward. Palms face each other, thumbs are up. Same thing with the eyes. Let's keep them looking either straight ahead or slightly down. Or once you know what you're doing here, you might decide to close the eyes. So as we inhale here, we're going to take that right arm out to the side. Follow that thumb with your eyes. And as we exhale, we bring that thumb back to center. Let's work with the same side. So right arm goes out. I'm turning my head to track it. And then we come back. And so you can close the eyes if you want, but think about that head turning as the arm opens. Or you can just keep that soft gaze. We'll do one more just like that. And then pause here. Arms are engaged, shoulders are down. We're sitting up tall. We don't want to lose that nice tall spine. And now we're going to switch to the other side. As we inhale, we'll take that left arm out. Maybe just, to that plane of the shoulder. And as we exhale, return. So it's a real soft twist in the upper back. The head and neck are turning as well. And these are slow movements. 2 more just like that. And now, bend those elbows, let those hands rest down in your lap. And pause and check in with sensation in the shoulders, in the upper back, head and neck. And we'll release those arms down alongside the body. Just kind of shake out those shoulders, let things settle. Feel that connection again to the earth, to the chair. And this time we'll inhale, circle and sweep those arms up and over. As we exhale, we'll float those arms back down. Now you notice I'm keeping my gaze straight ahead and down, not looking up at my hands, but just allowing the eyes to keep that soft gaze. Now this next time, as we circle and sweep those arms up, let's grab the left wrist with the right hand, and we're going to lean over to the right. Next inhale brings us to center. We switch the grip, grabbing right wrist with left hand, and as we exhale, we lean left. Inhale back to center, release the wrist. Exhale, float the arms down, drop the chin. Take a circle with those shoulders. Straighten up tall, we'll do that again. Inhale, circle, sweep those arms up. Grab left wrist. As we exhale, we lean to the right. Inhale, return to center, switch your grip. Grab right wrist, exhale, lean left. Inhale, back to center, release the grip. Exhale, float the arms down. Drop the chin. Circle those shoulders, crown of the head reaches for the ceiling. We'll do it one more time, but this time we'll stay in that side body stretch, releasing the arms down now. Inhale, circle and sweep those arms up. Grab that left wrist and exhale, lean over to the right. Let's stay here. You can turn your head so you're looking down at the floor. You can soften or close your eyes. Breathing here into that left side body. On your next inhale, come back to center. Switch the grip and exhale, lean over to the left. Looking down or even closing the eyes. On your next inhale, come back to center, release the arms, and exhale, float them back down to your lap. Take a circle or two with those shoulders. Check in with sensations now in the rib cage and the side body. And we're going to grab one of our blocks. So If you don't have a block, don't worry about this. We can do the same thing with a pretend block. But we're going to take the block between our palms. You see I have it at its widest width, and I'm squeezing the block with my palms. So my fingers aren't grabbing it, but I'm really keeping it out there with my palms. If you don't have a block, you're going to do the same thing with your imaginary block. Notice as we do this that the entire arm is engaged from the palms and the fingertips all the way up into the shoulders. So here we go. As we inhale this time, we're going to reach that block up, whatever up means today, right? If the shoulders allow, you might come up all the way with biceps by the ears, or it might stop somewhere before that, and that's fine. And then the exhale is going to bring it right back down. So let's try that working within your safe range of motion. We'll inhale, take it up, squeezing that block or that imaginary block, and the exhale will bring it back down to shoulder height. Inhale, push into the feet, squeeze the block, lift up. Try and keep those lower ribs in. Exhale, come on back down. So we don't, let me turn to the side here. We don't want to end up with a back bend here, but we want to keep that spine really long and tall. The inhale's going to take it up. Keep those lower ribs in. The core engages to keep us upright and the spine long. We'll do 2 more. Keep squeezing that block or that imaginary block. And then pause here at shoulder height. Bend the elbows, bring that block back down to your lap. Pause and take a breath and notice sensations now in the entire arm and the shoulders. I'm going to put that block down next to me now. Take another circle with those shoulders, just kind of loosen things up if we've added any tension. And now we'll reach those arms down alongside the body. My feet are still on the floor, my sitting bone's still on the chair. This time as we inhale, we'll take those arms forward and up, knowing that up is wherever our shoulders tell us. As we exhale, we're going to bring the right arm down and turn the head to the right. Inhale, reach that arm back up, head comes back to center. Exhale, drop left arm, turn head left. Inhale, come back to center. And this time as we exhale, we bring both arms back down to the lap. That's our sequence. We're going to repeat it again. I'd like you to remember about this nice tall spine. We don't want to take it into a back bend here, but we want to keep the spine tall. We want to keep that gaze forward and down. Or you can close your eyes if you feel comfortable. So let's try it again. Arms are down alongside the body. Inhale, reach forward and up. Palms can face each other. As we exhale, we float the right arm down. Gently turn the head to the right. So bringing some motion into the neck as well. Inhale, that right arm comes back up, head comes back to neutral. As we exhale, we drop the left arm down, turn head left. Inhaling, coming back to center, arm lifts. Exhale, both arms float down. You can let them rest in your lap. Take a circle with the shoulders. We'll do it one last time. Arms are down. Inhaling, both arms come up. As we exhale, that right arm lowers. We turn the head to the right. Gaze is low. Inhale, arm lifts. Head comes back to neutral. Exhale, lower left arm. Turn to the left. Inhale, the arm lifts, head comes back to neutral. And exhale, both arms come down. You can rest them on your lap. Turn a few circles into the shoulders. Check in with how the body feels. So we want to move and stretch without getting sweaty. Hopefully we're there. Let's bring some motion into the feet. Wow, I heard a lot of cracking and popping in those ankles there. Just pick up one heel and then the other, and you might want to pick up the toes as well. And then we're going to make our way to standing. And today, let's just talk our way through this standing. We really connect our feet to the floor. I might bring them in a little bit closer. I can bring my hands to the seat of the chair, and I start to shift my weight forward. So let's bring the weight into the feet, less into the sitting bones, push into the feet, and make our way up to standing. Wonderful. Now that I'm standing, I've done a little bit of furniture moving around. You shouldn't need to do that. You can walk around to the back of your chair and use that as a support if you need it, or the wall behind you. So we have a lot of different support available to us. Let's find our mountain pose. Keep the toes straight ahead, crown of the head reaching for the ceiling, and check in with how that feels right now. Take a breath or two. We've got both feet on the ground. Should feel pretty stable. And if not, we have a lot of support here. Now I'm going to grab my block, or my imaginary block, and I'm taking it the narrowest way this time. I'm going to squeeze it between my thighs, just above my knees. The long edge of the block is parallel to the floor. So squeezing that block in, engaging those legs, maybe even getting a little bit taller. From here, what happens is I circle and sweep those arms up and overhead. And exhale, float them back down. So squeezing that block between my thighs, really engaging the legs, but still keeping both heels on the ground, feeling very strong in this mountain pose with this sun breath. Exhale, float the arms down. Beautiful. Okay, now we might add some things in here. Let's give it a try. If you don't have a block between your thighs, you are still engaging your legs using that imaginary block. So let's inhale, squeeze the block, circle the arms up, grab left wrist. And as we exhale, we're going to lean over to the right. Inhale, come back to center, switch the grip. And as we exhale, we're going to lean to the left. Inhale, return to center, release the arms. Exhale, take them down into a cactus. Inhale, get a little bit taller. Exhale, float those arms down by your side. Take a circle with those shoulders. Notice what's going on with the legs, whether you're gripping the block or not. Now we're going to do that again. We'll add on a little bit. So when you're ready, squeeze the block. Inhale, circle and sweep those arms up. Grab left wrist. As we exhale, we lean to the right. Inhaling back through center, switch the grip. Exhale, go the other way. Inhale back through center, release the grip. And as we exhale, we come into cactus arms. Inhale, get a little bit taller, squeeze the block. Exhale, let's twist to the right. Look at that right elbow as you twist. Inhale, return to center. Exhale, twist in the other direction, looking at the left elbow crease. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, float those arms down alongside the body. Circle those shoulders. Pause and check in with how everything feels. And if you have a real block squeezing between your thighs, you might want to take it out and take a little break there. And then we're going to do this one more time. Again, I have this chair here. If I need it, I can put my hand down, or I can bring my hands to the wall. Squeeze the block. Inhale, circle and sweep the arms up. We'll grab left wrist with right hand and lean to the right on the exhale. Inhale, return to center. Switch that grip. And exhale, go the other way. Inhale, return to center. Exhale, take it to your cactus arms. Inhale, get taller. Exhale, twist right. Let your head follow and look back at that right elbow crease. Inhale, return to center. You're still squeezing that block. Exhale, twist to the left. Inhale, back to center. And this time as we exhale, let's bend the knees a little bit and sit back in our chair. I'm just going to turn to the side so you can see that. Just a shallow chair. There's a bend in my knees, bend at my hips, bend at my ankles. Stay for the exhale. Push into the feet. Inhale, come up. Exhale, float those arms down. Take a circle with the shoulders, maybe move that block. We're going to do it one more time with that chair pose added in at the end. Okay, so squeeze the block if you like. Feel that sensation. Our feet are parallel. We stand up tall. Inhale, circle and sweep those arms up. Grab left wrist, and as we exhale, we lean to the right. Inhale, return to center, switch the grip. Exhale, go the other way. Inhale, return to center. Exhale, cactus arms. Inhale, get taller. Exhale, twist to the right, looking at that right elbow crease. Inhale, come back to center. Whenever we move the eyes, that affects balance. Squeeze that block, it might help you. Inhale, come back to center. As we exhale, sit back into our chair. Stay for an inhale. And another exhale, maybe a little deeper, maybe not. We can use that chair to support us. On the next inhale, push into the feet, come all the way up. Exhale, float those arms down by your side. Grab that block and remove it. Shake the legs out. Wiggle those hips. Just notice how you feel. Okay, we're going to put down the block and the imaginary block. And we're going to stand up tall here. Reaching those arms behind us. Imagining, we're all going to use an imaginary block right now. Imagining we have that block between our palms. Standing up tall, crown of the head, reaching for the ceiling. Palms reaching towards one another. So my arms are active all the way out to the fingertips. And what am I doing? I'm reminding myself that those shoulder blades come together and down, that my collarbones remain open, and the crown of the head is reaching for the ceiling. And then release that feeling. And now we'll grab that block in front of us. Block in front of us. And let's face the back of the chair. I'm going to bring my right foot forward and my left foot back, coming into a warrior one stance facing the chair. Now, I can squeeze the block or the imaginary block between my palms, or I could just put the block down and use the chair for support. Once I found my warrior one stance, I'm going to straighten that leg, squeeze the block between my palms. Notice that the arms are engaged. We're going to bend the knee, reach the arms up, whatever up means today. Keep the gaze down. As we exhale, we come back, straightening the leg. Arms come back to shoulder height. Inhale, bend the knee. Arms float up. And as we exhale, we come back down. Now we're engaging these arms all the way up and all the way down. Actually, I'm going to drop that block and do it with my imaginary block. Now, same effect. My arms are engaged the whole way up, the whole way down, and my gaze is low. Now the next time that those arms are up, we're going to stay in our pose. I might put my block back in. And this time, maybe we make that choice to lift the chin and the gaze. We might come into a little back bend in that upper back. Breathing here. And then straighten the legs, straighten out the spine, float the arms down to shoulder height, bend the elbows, bring the blocks in, block in, step your back foot forward. Yeah, pause here. Notice how the body feels. Now we're going to do the other side. That means it's going to be left foot forward, right foot back. I'm just going to turn around so you can perhaps see me better. I find my warrior one, and then I remember what that felt like when my arms were behind my back, and I want to come back to that. Grabbing a block or an imaginary block between the palms, we straighten the front leg. Inhale, bend the knee, squeeze the block, reach it up and overhead, but gaze stays down. Exhale, return, lifting those ribs out of the hips. So we have this nice long spine, arms are engaged. Let's do 2 more up and down, knowing that your breath might be faster or slower than mine, and that's fine. And then the next time that the arms are overhead, perhaps we lift the chin and the gaze, open up the upper back into a little bit of a back bend. We're still squeezing the arms together. Whether or not there's a real block or an imaginary block does not matter. Feel the power in the legs. Straighten out the spine. Float the arms down, straighten the leg. Bend the elbows, bring the block in, step the back foot forward. Release that block and just pause. Check in with how everything feels. Can we come back to an even breath? Okay, now I'm going to do a little bit of furniture moving, but you should just walk around to the other side of your chair, because we're going to face the seat of the chair right now. We don't need these blocks. I'm going to put them down nearby so that I know where they are and everything's safe. We're going to take a slightly wide stance. So wider than my hip pointers, but it's not so wide that I don't feel stable. Let's take an inhale here, get as long as we can, crown of the head reaches for the ceiling. As we exhale, hinge forward, bring those hands to the seat of the chair. So I have a nice long spine here. My neck is in line with the spine, so my nose is kind of pointed to the seat of the chair as well. I'm going to move my right hand so that it's in the center of the chair, and as I inhale, I'm going to take that left arm out to the side. Maybe I turn my head and look at it, just shoulder height. And exhale, bring it back down. Try that again, inhaling. Take that arm out to the side. Maybe it's a little higher than the shoulder this time. And exhale, bring it back down. One more. Maybe it goes a little higher. Let's keep those hips level. And then bring that back down. And we're going to switch sides. So now the left hand comes right underneath the face. And it's going to be our right arm that goes out to the side. Now I'm set up pretty close to the wall here, so I won't be doing it, but I'll step you through it. As we inhale, we take that right arm out to shoulder height. Perhaps turn the head and look at it. And the exhale brings it back down. Let's try and keep those hips level. Inhale, second round. It might go a little higher. Exhale, return. And this round, we reach that arm out to the side, perhaps a little bit higher. And as we exhale, we bring that arm back down, bringing both hands back to the seat of the chair. Soften into those knees. Nice long spine, long back of the neck. We'll soften into the knees, bring one hand to each thigh, push into the hands, push into the feet. Come back up to standing. Let's bring our legs together. Circle those shoulders up and back and down. And we're ready to come back to our chair. I did a little bit of furniture moving, but you shouldn't have had to. Just walk around to the seat of the chair and make yourself comfortable. So we are going to slide back to the back, and we're going to connect our feet to the floor with our blocks or whatever prop that you have for your feet. And once we get there, let's turn the palms up in the lap. Let those shoulders come down and away from the ears. Let's soften or close the eyes. Remember that gaze at the horizon or lower, or close them. And turn your attention to the breath. Let those inhales bring you that nice cooling breath that you need. Let the exhales take away whatever doesn't serve. And then we'll turn our attention to the body. Notice any areas of cool or warmth now. Have we gotten a little bit warmer? Or have we been able to stay cool? Doesn't matter what the answer is. The yoga is in the noticing. Very gently turn the head to the left and the right. And then bring the head back to center. Wiggle your fingers a little bit. Blink open the eyes if they're closed. And we're going to slide to the edge of our chair, bringing the feet back down to the earth. We'll stack those palms at heart center, tuck the chin, and recall the intention that we set at the beginning of our class. And then we'll thank ourselves for taking time to practice yoga today. And thank you so much for allowing me to guide you. It's an honor to be with you here, my friends. Stay well, and I'll see you again soon.